Russia edges towards all-out NATO war with claim U.S. now directly involved. Russia has accused the U.S. of becoming directly involved in the Ukraine war in a worrying step towards a standoff between Washington and Moscow. The Biden administration has always maintained throughout the Russian invasion of Ukraine that it would not become a direct combatant against the Kremlin. The White House has said it would limit its participation in the war to providing military aid and funding to Kyiv. On Monday, Ukraine's deputy head of military intelligence said Ukraine was using real-time intelligence from Western countries in their war effort, adding that the U.S. supply of HIMARS, or high-mobility artillery rocket systems, had had a significant impact in striking Russian facilities and supply stores. General Vadim Skibitsky told The Telegraph, "As far as military intelligence is concerned, Britain and the U.S. have provided almost everything from information to equipment." He said Britain was providing minute-to-minute, real-time information, of all kinds. He then added, "I can't tell you whether we are directly tasking British and American satellites, but we have very good satellite imagery." He continued, "We have very good cooperation with our partners in the UK in this field. We have very good communication with all the sister intelligence agencies." However, the Major General said the U.S. was not feeding Ukrainian forces intelligence on direct targets, which would leave the U.S. more deeply embroiled in the conflict. He said there was some level of dialogue between Kyiv and Washington on potential targets, with the U.S. able to have some input if the targets were deemed unacceptable. Russia's defense ministry hit back at the comments, saying that intelligence provided by the U.S. to Ukraine had led to the mass deaths of civilians and constituted direct involvement. The ministry said, "All this undeniably proves that Washington, contrary to White House and Pentagon claims, is directly involved in the conflict in Ukraine." Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, described the remarks as an admission of U.S. involvement in its purest form. She said, "No other confirmation of the direct involvement of the United States in the hostilities on the territory of Ukraine is required. The supply of weapons is accompanied not only by instructions on its use, but in this case they perform the function of gunners in their purest form." Russian Defense Ministry spokesperson, Igor Konashenkov, called the comments made by General Skibitsky an official confession. He said the Russian military has marked it and will keep in mind this official confession. The U.S. has already fed over $8 billion, or £6.5 billion, into Ukraine in military and security assistance since the invasion. On Monday, the U.S. announced a further $550 million earmarked for Kyiv. 4 further HIMARS arrived in Ukraine earlier this week, bringing the total to 16. HIMARS, which can strike targets up to 80 kilometers, or 50 miles, away, have been widely hailed by Ukrainian forces as a game changer for the resistance efforts. But a senior defense official clarified back in May that the U.S. is self-limiting to strategic leadership on paper, and will not furnish Kyiv with information on location that would lead to the killing of Russian generals. They added that the U.S. is not actively helping them kill generals of any kind.